I've seen skeletonized watches before, the dials, the handsets, even a crown, but I've never seen a skeletonized inner rotating bezel until Nove sent me their Marine. Hi guys, my name is Jason and I am your watch guy today. I have Nove back in the studio today and they have sent me their brand new, yet to be released, automatic Swiss diver, the Marine. The one that I have in is a prototype and therefore is not perfect, so do please bear that in mind while we go through this review. The production piece will have a much higher level of QC and all the usual aspects will be improved as you would expect, but this one will definitely give you a good idea of what is coming from Nove. This video has been sponsored by Nove. I have linked their website and this watch in the description, and if you like, you can pre-order this one now. The first thing that struck me about this watch is how well sized it is, and dare I say reserved, that is for Nove anyway. It's definitely learned a lesson from the Trident range with the really thin effect casing that it has. The previous watches that I've reviewed from Nove have been pretty out there, a little bit flamboyant. This one definitely plays more towards the larger market. You'll notice some AR coating on this piece that is on the underside of the crystal. One improvement for the production is that they will be coating both sides of this crystal. As you may have noticed, printed to the dial, we do have Swiss made, powered by the Salita SW200 with a customized Nove rotor. Now I'm sure we all know the SW200 by now. It is a reliable and pretty high grade Swiss movement. You can find this movement in watches up to the £2,000 mark and probably beyond. This 316L stainless steel watch is really well proportioned and fits very well to my wrist. In diameter straight across, it comes in at 41.3 millimeters. It is 13.2 millimeters thick with that domed crystal. Lug to lug, we have 47.5 millimeters, which falls really well inside our wearable range. And these are 22 millimeter lugs. As you can imagine, the lug to lug distance on this piece definitely makes it a more universal fit. It's not a small watch by any means. However, for a dive piece, it is definitely well within a lot of people's ranges. As you can see, the casing is super robust in design and has a lot of tight angles matched with some lovely finishing. I have very easily got along with this design. The case design provides a very natural set of crown guards for the crown and the inner bezel crown. Another thing that I really like is that they have lined the inside of these crowns with red markers, so you can tell if this has been fully screwed in and if you are safe to go into the water with it. Something that I think a lot of dive watches could benefit from. The crowns are distinguished by the Nove logo for the time setting and the lume indicator for the bezel. The fixed bezel around the outside of the crystal definitely distinguishes very nicely from the casing and plays well with the dial colour. This isn't your usual ceramic bezel insert. In fact, it's not an insert at all. It's actually part of the casing and it's being coated in this green colour to match the dial itself. This is a stainless steel bezel built into the case. I'll show you some of the lume points on that bezel very shortly. The casing is finished by a display case back, which is surrounded by the usual information and obviously showing off that modified rotor on the SW200 movement. And to the front, we have that lovely domed sapphire crystal, which flows really nicely into the case design itself. As we move into the dial, we get to the feature of this watch. The inner rotating bezel gives this lovely effect of almost floating around the outside of the dial. The skeletonized aspect of it definitely gives and it sets it apart from a lot of other watches on the market right now. This is fully lumed, I will show you that shortly, and it has dive indicators at the 10 and 20 mark, as well as the usual minute indicators in between. The bezel is, however, the only markings that are present on this watch. The dial is a flat matte green and we have the Nove logo at the 12 o'clock, followed by automatic Swiss made towards the 6. This does have a date window at 3 o'clock. It's unfortunately not matched to the dial, and that may be a trick that they have missed here, something that possibly should be considered in production. The handset is incredibly bold and you definitely can't say that they've missed the legibility point on this one. For a standard hour hand, this one is pretty long, but it does really fit the dial and the minute hand very well. The Lume definitely has an aged effect to it, and I think that is in effort to match it a little bit to the bezel colour itself. The handset's completed by a paddle second hand with a really nice red accent to it. The red fills a really nice touch because it matches with the automatic print on the dial and really does bring it together. We know what comes next. Let's get the lights out and let's have a look at this Lume Shot. As you can see on this one, the Lume has been pretty well taken care of. We have lumed indicators around the outer bezel itself. The entire bezel itself is lumed, as well as this lume indicator on the crown. It's a really nice added touch. The handset, they've gone completely the right way with it and made it very, very bold and legible and given plenty of space for that lume to do its job, as well as that the second hand's body is lumed, which again is a nice touch from them. I think out of 10, I'm going to give this one a 7. It's really well done. I like that the bezel is fully lumed itself and the markers on the outside. At this type of price range, this is the standard I expect from Nove. The bracelet on this one is not your average boring old oyster style bracelet. This one's a little bit more extravagant and thought out. The inner links are an hexagonal shape with a very high polish finish to it, and the outer links, which come into more of a H-link bracelet, have a brushed finish to accent that. The bracelet itself has a really nice honeycomb effect to it, and I think it really does show the out-of-the-box thinking that Nove has when they approach designing a new watch. The links are push pins, but I can forgive that because of how thin the bracelet actually is. This is Nove's ratcheting clasp, and the secret is really within the name of that. The ratchet clasp will aid in giving a very nice fit to wrist, as well as extending enough for this to go over a wetsuit for those crazy people out there. Enough talk, let's get this one on wrist. There we have it. It fits really well to wrist, and that will be because of a number of different things. It'll be the dimensions, of course, but also this bracelet really does fit nicely to wrist. It's a really thin form to this bracelet, which definitely helps. And obviously you can get that really nice tight fit with the ratcheting clasp. I think this one looks really good on wrist, and I really do think that it adds a different element to most dive watches just because of its overall style and definitely because of that floating skeletonized bezel design. Nove is always one of those brands that are a little bit hit and miss on this channel, and that's because of how extravagant their designs usually are. I think this time around, they've definitely played more within the realms of what an average consumer wants, but adding little aspects of their own flair to the design. As you can expect, there are some complaints to be had. First of all, with the price range that this is playing at, I'll get to that in a second, I really do expect to have a colour matched date window. I think it takes away so much from the design by leaving this as a white date window, as a white date wheel. And it does distract from what could be a really lovely symmetrical design to that dial. I really like the ratcheting clasp. However, I wish the actual clasp aspect of it wasn't a friction fit. I feel like a button press would have been much better for this one. Finally, as I alluded to, and as I haven't mentioned yet, the price of this piece. On pre-order, this is $1,080. Yeah, $1,080. It's a really hefty price, and you are going to have to love this watch to pay that much for it. I really think that this should probably be playing more around the $800 mark. That'd make much more sense to me. However, with that being said, Nove do offer some fantastic discounts on their website, so it's definitely something that you should be looking out for if you're interested in this piece. Knock a little bit off the top of the price, and I think you'll feel much better about adding this one into your collection. Speaking of which, Nove have supplied a discount code for us. The code is JASON12, and that will get you 12% off at checkout on any of their watches, including this Marine. So if you're gonna make a purchase, make sure you use that. I know this one's going to have a mixed reception amongst you guys, and I know exactly why. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and the comment section is below just for that. Let me know what you think of this, and tell me if you are considering purchasing one for yourself. This one's linked in the description. It's available for pre-order now, as I mentioned in the intro. Remember to subscribe to the channel, guys, and I will see you in the next one.